Hello, this is T Mike here at T Mike's Vintage Outboards, and today I'm making a video on ignition coils and try to do a little explanation of how they actually work and how to test them, how to actually measure them, see if they're in working condition. So this is an inductive coil. I took it off of one of my Restoros, a TN28. There's normally two of them on a two-cylinder motor, and the function of these ignition coils is to create the spark of the flywheel spinning around across the armature right here, creating voltage to jump the gap of your spark plug to create the spark to cause combustion inside the cylinder. And the way that's done on these ignition coils is there are actually two windings on each coil. So there's actually two coils of wire wound around this armature. Okay, there's a primary coil and a secondary coil. As you can see by this drawing, you can access the primary winding by connecting your voltometer leads to both of the spade tip connector leads coming off the coil. And then you can access the secondary winding by leaving one lead on one of the spade tip connectors and putting the other lead on the spark plug hole iron stud in the center. The primary coil is a bigger wire and less windings, so it develops more current and not as much voltage, and then that is brought across the secondary coil, which is a smaller wire with more windings, okay, that lowers the current but raises the voltage. So you end up with enough voltage to jump that gap in the spark plug, which, depending on the specs of the coil or the plug, it could be as much as 20 to 40,000 volts. All right? So that's the science behind how a coil actually works. Now we're going to talk about how to test a coil. All right? So remember I said that the two leads are the primary coil, and then from either lead to the output of the spark plug wire lead is the secondary coil. Okay? So I recommend checking your coils with a digital voltmeter. So this is the voltmeter I use. It's a Fluke 177 voltmeter. You take your leads and you put the positive lead into the ohmage plug and take the black lead and put it into the common lead. All right? And then you want to set your meter to the ohms setting. All right? So what you're doing is you're checking resistance or continuity. OL means overload, means it's not seeing any continuity. If I touch my two leads together, changes to 1.5 ohms, so it's measuring the resistance of my leads shorted. Okay, so I'm going to take the coil and I'm going to put one side of my lead, my meter to there, the other side to the other lead. All right, and I'm measuring 1.7, 1.8 ohms. So different coils will have different specifications. The vintage motor coils that I use are normally between 1 ohm and 3 ohms for the primary. So this is between there, so it's acceptable. All right. Now to check the secondary winding, you put your meter on either lead and then go into the connector where your spark plug wire would be connected. All right, so from either lead to the spark plug lead, and I'm seeing 7.6 K. See the K on there? 7.6 K means 7,600 ohms, which is between 3 and 10,000 ohms. The secondary coil is good. All right. So that's how you test a coil for your vintage outboard motors. Hope all enjoyed the video. See you next time. Hope you enjoyed the video. Here at Team Bikes Vintage Outboards, we're doing it one motor at a time. Please click on subscribe. I guarantee to provide weekly videos. Au revoir mes amis, and laissez les bon temps rouler.